The administration continues to focus on more regulations that will cause further bottlenecks and uncertainty for the nation's supply chains. A handful of questions. First for you, Ms. Benford. In regards to the WOTUS, or Waters of the U.S., the Biden administration continues to ignore the clear decision by the Supreme Court in the Sackett versus EPA case regarding the definition of waters of the U.S. under the Clean Water Act. What new uncertainty exists due to the administration's changes post-Sackett, and did the Navigable Waters Protection Rule offer more or less clarity to you and to your members?
I'm going to have to circle back with you on that one.
Anyone else have a comment on WOTUS, the Waters of the U.S., and the impact that you're seeing that having to your particular industry?
In Washington State, sir, 86+% of the work that we do that's federally funded is addressed through a categorical exclusion. We're spending our money on preservation of our existing infrastructure, and those rules have had no impact on that work.
Okay.
When we do more complex projects and we get into a NEPA analysis, we go with the regulations that we have. We're working on several projects in that space, and we recognize that NEPA is a decision-making process. It's not a box you check. I'm all for getting to yes really quick. I'm also for getting to no really quick when somebody has a bad idea.
Yep. Yeah. No, thank you. The next question is for you, Mr. Tucker. Last month, the Customs and Border Patrol briefly suspended rail operations through international rail crossings in Eagle Pass and El Paso. I know you referenced earlier in a question about the importance of these crossings. You know, when the Customs and Border Patrol did that, when they had to move agents to other parts to help secure the border, Union Pacific Railroad alone noted they had more than 60 trains, or nearly 4,500 rail cars that are being held south of the border. How do these type of delays and suspensions of cross-border activity affect supply chain and logistics throughout the country? What are the ripple effects of that in your view?
The ripple effects are significant, and especially for grains, right? Things that have an expiration, such as food. So those are big ripple effects. I'm not part of national security. I understand that there might have been an impetus to make Mexico do more, and in doing that, but I think that the challenge needs to be faced. We need to continue moving this freight. As I said earlier, there is way more freight moving north from Mexico, and please expect it to continue over the next decade. And we just can't afford to have a closure like that. From what I understand, at least from the figures released by the Union Pacific and supported by the AAR, is that there's about a $200 million impact.
Greetings, friends. Action has finally been taken. President Biden has just signed a stopgap measure. This bill will stop a government shutdown from occurring until March. The president has also announced that he will be approving billions of dollars in more financial relief to almost 100,000 Americans. My dear friends, please do me a big favor and watch until the end of this video. Please make sure that you do stay tuned. I will be announcing the winners of today's giveaway at the end of the video. According to the Hill, the House approved a short-term spending bill to keep our government funded through March. The House is sending the stopgap to President Biden's desk for his signature one day before a partial shutdown deadline. The chamber cleared the two-step continuing resolution hours after the Senate approved the measure. The legislation is the third short-term spending bill that Congress has approved in fiscal 2024. House Speaker Mike Johnson had to rely heavily on Democratic support after conservatives staked their opposition to the proposal. Last week, Speaker Johnson rejected calls from conservatives to go back on the bipartisan top-line spending deal that he supported just days before. He had also brushed aside a suggestion from the right flank to put a long-term continuing resolution on the floor that would have triggered a 1% across-the-board cut mechanism that was included in the debt limit deal that Kevin McCarthy reached with President Biden last year. Lawmakers agreed to extend funding for 4 of the 12 annual spending bills through March 1st. The bill also kicks a February 2nd deadline for the remaining government agencies like the Departments of Defense, Labor, Education, and Health and Human Services to March 8th. If Congress has to pass another stopgap bill in March, it would mark the 4th stopgap bill that lawmakers have had to pass in the current session, as partisan divides remain over spending. There is also concern in Capitol Hill about an impending April deadline for automatic spending cuts. If Congress does not finish its work on time, President Biden announced that his administration is forgiving $5 billion in student debt for another 74,000 borrowers. This marks the latest round of debt cancellation since the Supreme Court voided the president's student loan forgiveness program. The debt relief is a result of fixes to income-driven repayment forgiveness and the Public Service Loan Forgiveness Program. According to the Education Department, Biden said that of the borrowers who can receive relief, nearly 44,000 are teachers, nurses, firefighters, and others who are eligible for forgiveness after working 10 years of public service. Approximately 30,000 Americans who will have their debt wiped clean have been repaying their loans for at least 20 years, but did not receive the relief they earned through income-based plans. CBS News has said, with the latest round of student loan forgiveness, more than 3.7 million Americans have had their debt erased under the Biden administration. Biden said in a recent statement, "From day one of my administration, I vowed to improve the student loan system so that a higher education provides Americans with the opportunity and prosperity, not unmanageable burdens of student loan debt." Education Secretary Miguel Cardona said, "The loan forgiveness comes while the Biden administration is working to provide greater debt relief to borrowers. Since the start of his presidency, Biden has undertaken several efforts to tackle student debt, including rolling out a new income-driven repayment plan last year and forgiving debt for certain types of borrowers. This includes those who worked in public service and are disabled." The president announced this month that those who took out less than $12,000 in loans and have been in repayment for 10 years will also have the remaining debt canceled beginning in February. According to CBS News, Biden's most sweeping effort was a program that would have provided relief to 40 million Americans who stood to have up to $20,000 in student debt wiped clean. But the plan was blocked by the Supreme Court in June. The High Court determined that federal law did not authorize the loan forgiveness plan. Well, my awesome and amazing friends, thank you so much for being part of this community. Every Friday, I will be announcing several winners for the Walmart gift card giveaway. The winners of today's Walmart gift card giveaway is Paulette Ashford and Montreville Blakely. Congratulations, my dearest friends. To claim your gift cards, please check your notifications page and send me a message. Or friends, you could message me on my Facebook page. Thank you and have a wonderful and very blessed Friday.